Hello and welcome back to another video. Someone linked me this video. Lamelo Ball will be the biggest draft bust. Obviously, with all these predictions, because I did look, it was from 4 months ago, so probably the draft. With all these predictions, it's really hard to predict who is going to be good and who is going to be bad in this league. Obviously, I was one of the doubters of Lamelo Ball. I didn't publicize it on my YouTube channel. I didn't really talk about it, but I didn't have that much faith of him as a top pick in last year's draft. I didn't call him a bust or anything like I'm guessing these guys will, but yeah, let's go into this and let's see what they say, I guess. Yeah.
All right, that's biggest sleeper. We'll flip to the biggest bust, El Busto. El Busto of this draft is who, Robbie?
I hate to do this because I feel like I'm like overly negative, but yep. Lamelo Ball. I just, if you cannot shoot at the point guard position, how has that worked out for anybody in the last 10 years in the NBA?
First of all, I mean, if you look at Jason Kidd, throughout his first few years in the league, he wasn't a great shooter. Obviously, that was a while ago. I'm going to be breaking down this video if you guys couldn't tell already for what he says. But, I mean, there's been good point guards. Ja Morant can't really shoot the ball from outside, and he's still really effective. There's been point guards in the past that have I mean, Derrick Rose. I mean, he's still not a good shooter, but he's still that's not a good way to bring it up. But let's see what he has to say.
They are going to go under and then go under again, and then they're going to get to the charge arc, and they might go under there. Like, that's what I think about when I look at LaMelo Ball.
Another point, he wasn't some, like even looking back on his overseas days, the Lithuania days even, he wasn't this unreal bad shooter. Like, he wasn't this player that just you could let shoot from outside. Even in high school, he was a good shooter. So that's just like they have to realize, these analysts have to realize that some of the stuff actually does transfer to the NBA. Your strengths are going to transfer as well as your weaknesses. And LaMelo Ball was practicing those long range threes in high school. Like, you see the videos of him hitting the half court shots even. So that's I don't understand that criticism. But let's keep going. We're only 35 seconds into it.
They're going to go under forever. And to me, like, Lonzo was a really good player at UCLA, and he's a solid pro. But you could almost say that his NBA career has been, I'm not going to say a bust because he's a solid player. It's been disappointing for the number 2.
I would say, obviously, this is before this year, but Lonzo has done a lot better this season, and I don't think he's been as disappointing as many people make him out to be.
Number 1, like, Anthony Bennett's the perfect example. If he's drafted 10th, no one even probably talks about him as a bust because it doesn't matter. But when you're the top pick or the second pick or the third pick, like, it's a different animal. So I think his inability to shoot the ball, I think his dad is explosive as all can be to where he –
I don't think I want to hear more of his takes because he's only really talked about his lack of shooting, and that was I guess that was a doubt of LaMelo. He goes into his dad, or he's about to go into his dad, and that can't be a real criticism on LaMelo. Like, let's keep going.
Could totally screw this up. I just. There's a lot to me that screams like this could be really bad.
Let me add on to that. So think about this, the difference. He passes the ball a lot like Rondo, right? They both dribble, no look.
Can I interrupt you, though?
I know where you're going.
Rajon Rondo is a really good example because he doesn't shoot it well, but Rajon Rondo is super freaking smart. And he knows exactly where everybody's supposed to be. Agreed. He only cares about winning. Yep. He doesn't care about highlights. He doesn't care about stats. So when you look at LaMelo Ball, and all he's cared about really since he was probably in high school is, like, looking cool on Instagram.
I would say, obviously that is a big part of this generation growing up is the social media appeal. So you can't really take that against him. But LaMelo Ball has basically changed his, like, obviously he still posts on social media. He still does all these things. He's dating some popular female. But anyways, LaMelo Ball cares about winning. And he's made statements this year that he just wants to win. He's proven this year that he's not all about stats. He barely shoots the ball. He passes greatly. It's just a bad take. And Rondo grew up in an era that didn't focus on social media, and I would say Rondo's even more arrogant than LaMelo. I don't think that's a hot take, but
that to me is a problem. That is a huge problem, and that's not just a LaMelo Ball problem. That's probably more of a that's the way that kind of kids are being brought up now, because it's what they get affirmed on. So, what is your concern? Would you rather win or would you rather look cool? That's a good question to a lot of the guys in the draft, but especially to LaMelo Ball.
And again, what I was trying to get at,
I think their main reasoning behind that take is just that he has a way bigger following than any of the other guys in this draft, so it's bound that he cares more about that stuff. That's really that. I came into this video, and I was gonna basically harp on the main criticisms that LaMelo did have going into this draft, which was his shooting. Obviously, he wasn't as bad as a shooter as they're making it out to be, or decision making, which was another big criticism of his. But these criticisms are just not factual, right? You can make an argument that Anthony Edwards likes to look better in highlights than LaMelo Ball because of the dunks and which isn't a shot at Anthony Edwards. It's just the reality of it. It's their games. Obviously, LaMelo Ball doesn't care. He's shown this year. Obviously, these guys can't predict that LaMelo will care more about winning than highlights. But I don't think you can predict that about a player like LaMelo Ball just because he has a big social media following. But let's keep going.
They both have innate court vision and passing ability. They do it flashy. The big difference. The biggest difference. There's two. To me, Rondo was an elite defender when he got in the league, and LaMelo is an atrocious defender when he gets in.
I can't really disagree with that. I can't, because going into the league, LaMelo Ball was not seen as a good defender. I don't have his Lithuania or I think he played in Australia. I think that's the place more recently. I don't have his defensive numbers, but he was seen as a below average defender. He obviously, these guys can't predict that he's going to come out and steal all these passes and be obviously he's not an all-star defensive player, but he is holding his own. They can't predict that, so I'm not going to hold it against them.
Okay. So they're here and there.
How's LaMelo Ball's help side? How's that? Is he good in the help side?
There's none. Zero. And then the other part.
They're also acting like Rajon Rondo was some all-star defensive player right when he got into the league. It took a couple years for Rajon Rondo to be at the same level as what LaMelo Ball is right now. So okay, let's not.
Rondo knew he wasn't a good shooter and didn't shoot. LaMelo thinks he's a good shooter, and he shot 25% last year overseas and keeps jacking.
Shoots it across his face. Mechanically,
right.
He's so flawed.
It's worse than Lonzo's.
Whoever taught him, I know who taught him. He should be ashamed.
Well,
I'm from Indiana. That doesn't fly there. You can't teach your kid to shoot like that.
Okay, I think a reason I dislike this video so much, and probably why the person that recommended it to me did, is they're just so wrong, and they're so cocky about it, and it's just bad, man. Obviously, as I referenced before I started reacting to this video, this is before the draft. If they were right about all these takes, they would look like geniuses. But just the manner that they're disrespecting a guy that they've never seen in the NBA is just kind of annoying, right? It's just the mechanics of okay, this was before this season, obviously. Lonzo has shown that last season, before the bubble even, that he was an excellent shooter, and he's kept mostly the same form throughout. And LaMelo Ball has obviously better mechanics, better shooting form than Lonzo did coming into the league. And Lonzo obviously changed his shot up a little bit, and he's been really efficient. But LaMelo wasn't a terrible shooter. Obviously, his statistics might show it, but it's also a generational thing where people are shooting more. And Rondo being drafted in the early 2000s is way different than a player getting drafted now. The game has changed, and I don't know why they keep referring to LaMelo shooting a lot of shots, because that's what people do nowadays. Like the league is a 3-point shooting league. It's just okay. Let's finish this video, man.
You cannot, but LeVar did just that. All right, so your El Busto is LaMelo. Mine is Anthony Edwards. No surprise there. I'm just concerned, especially if he goes number 1, that he's not going to be able to live up to that hype. There's red flag.
That's interesting that he had Anthony Edwards, because I think it was a good. I don't know. I don't know if Anthony Edwards is living up to the number 1 pick. Obviously, in a redraft, the Minnesota Timberwolves would probably draft LaMelo, but Anthony Edwards has been a top 3 rookie this year, so I can't say that his season's been disappointing. But this was just a hard video to watch, guys. Wow.